Very, very media savvy in the Northwest. Well played. And thank you very much for having me. It is a joy to be here. I grew up in London for my sins. I apologise for that, but I used to come up once a year to Longcroft in the Wirral. I don't know if you know of the fellowship there, unbelievable, stately home and beautiful grounds, and I just love playing football up here. Whenever I came, my father ran a ministry called Nepal Leprosy Trust, which created the largest leprosy hospital in the world in Nepal, and so my father would bring us all up to share about that ministry in Longcroft. And so, again, not a million miles away at the Wirral, and again, thank you so much for having us. We have been praying, and we sense that the Lord really wanted us this year to seek to be a blessing in Liverpool. So I hope that is an encouragement to you in some shape or form. We don't know how the Lord will do that. When we've been praying, that's what we felt the Lord wanted us to do, was to seek to connect with churches in Liverpool. And so we're doing this in faith, really. And again, I hope it's an encouragement to you that the Lord sees you and desires to see those dreams that Nick was talking about, that every child and young person would hear about the gospel in this part of the world, and we'd love to be a part of that if that is part of the Lord's plan. So I share with you a little bit about KICK. If we go on to the first slide, I'll just take you through these three simple things: our motivation, our mission, and our movement. Okay. So in terms of motivation, we are motivated for a range of different reasons, but we are heartbroken by the hopelessness that children and young people feel. Somebody prayed out earlier about hopelessness. Who was that? Russell. Thank you. This tragedy of hopelessness exists for children and young people, but we do have a God of all hope, don't we? And so we believe that. And here are 4 examples. 1 in 3 15-year-olds identify with a mental health condition. 95% of children and young people are not in church at all in the UK. 3.6 million grow up in fatherless homes. That's a third of children and young people now. And UNICEF identify fatherlessness as one of the 4 pillars of global poverty. And so again, relating to a Father God is that much more distant for them where that's more challenging. And then 3 out of 5 16 to 24-year-olds would say they feel disillusioned with life. These aspects, we believe, are a tragedy and something that we are seeking to change. And so, if we go on to the next one, thank you so much. We have a mission, and again, thank you, which is to transform young people's lives with God's love through sport and support. And so we also have a vision, which is to reach a generation of young people within a generation of time. So across the next 15 years, we aspire to go to the 15 regions of the UK to make a transformational difference in the lives of children and young people, to give them a hope for the future and a joy in the present. We want them to have a hope for the long term, but we also want them to enjoy themselves whilst they get there. And so sport and support are how we express our mission. And so what's the S of our solution? How are we going to have a crack at doing this? Well, it's this. If only 4.5% of kids are in church, where on earth are they? Well, they're in local schools. 11.5 million children and young people in the UK, 99.1% of them are in school. And so that's where they are. That's where we've got to go. And so we go into schools and we do 4 things: physical education, 25 different sports; street dance, 15 different dance disciplines; solutions-focused mentoring for the most challenging kids in a school; and schools-based chaplaincy. And I've got to tell you, if I did it all again, I'd be a chaplain. I think it is just the most amazing opportunity I was talking to one of our chaplains recently, and I'll share that story for later, actually. I'll tell you about that story later. Okay, so that's what we do in schools. 4 things. If you like, the physical through the sport and dance, the mental through the mentoring, and the spiritual through the chaplaincy. That holistic approach to education is something that we really care about at KICK. I'm so sorry, that next bit, if you nip back one, that next bit is the stepping stone, the KICK Academy. That is where we upskill people from local churches to reach local children and young people through either sport or dance ministry, so that we can welcome kids out of school and into church through a stepping stone. And so we desire that kids would fill your churches. I don't know about you, I have 3 sons. There are more children than adults in my family. I long for the day when we have more children than adults in our church families. Wouldn't that be just a brilliant problem to have? I mean, it may be a stressful problem to have, but it would be the right problem to have, wouldn't it? And often we have big buildings, and it'd be great to be heaving with children and young people. That's what we desire. So that's the S of our solution. I'll just unpack that a little bit. So firstly, with the schools, if we go on to the next one. Now I've got a little testimony to share with you. I previously was in education, and I was a principal of an outstanding school in Tower Hamlets, working often with those from deprived backgrounds that had been expelled from school. And I was there for 9 years, and in the 8th year, I felt God speaking to me that I was to move on. And I did not want to hear that. And so I resisted that for the best part of a year for my, in my stubbornness. It was terrible, really, looking back on it. And then I felt God give me a bit of an ultimatum, saying that I was going to stay in his will or be outside of it. And so at that point I said, okay, fair enough, I'll resign. And so I resigned at Christmas, and I said, within that week, that where God spoke to me very clearly after being very patient, it was time to move on. And so I resigned at Christmas, and I gave them 10 months to replace me because I knew Ofsted were coming. And so I was thinking, Lord, what am I going to do now? What do you want me to do next? I don't know. And it came to Easter, and I thought, well, I'm halfway through this period. I need to make up my mind. Lord, where should I be? Where should I be? I was praying. And it was Good Friday. And I don't know about you, but I heard about this organisation called KICK that did sport, education and mission. And I thought, well, I believe in mission. I am trained in education, and I love sport. And so I thought, maybe I should drop them an email. And then I thought, no, it's Good Friday. No one will be in the office. Drop them an email on Tuesday after the long bank holiday weekend. So I nestle in as a former film student to watch The Passion of Christ, the movie. I know it's not theologically perfect, but it sometimes gets me in the zone around Good Friday. And so I'm watching this film, and it's a tough film to watch. And so halfway through, I get up to grab a drinks break, and I check my emails. And the chair of KICK had emailed me, saying our director resigned yesterday to go and become a vicar. They'd met as a board of trustees that morning to talk about closing down the organisation. And while they'd been praying, my name had come up. Would I ever consider leaving my job as a head teacher to come run KICK? He had no idea I'd resigned. Only me and the Multi-Academy Trust CEO. And so I said, well, yes, you've emailed me. I was about to email you. And so God's got a sense of humour, hasn't he? But his ways are perfect. And despite my stubbornness, and I continue to be stubborn, I am so grateful that the Lord led me to KICK. But not before Ofsted came on my birthday, a month later, on May 7th, and they brought 5 inspectors for a 4-day inspection, really intense. And that could have been a moment where God, embarrassed me for not being obedient to his will when he was calling me on. But what was lovely about that was we achieved outstanding at every single area of the Common Inspection Framework. And really, that was just a really lovely way of the Lord, I think, honouring that step of faith. It was in his glorious riches. It wasn't anything to do with me. It was very much his kindness. But I was able to leave that organisation, come to KICK when we had just 7 people, and see him make changes. And so when I came to KICK, I wanted to try to reimagine coaching, but from a head teacher's perspective, and speak into schools, if you like, from what I'd gleaned as at a school. And so we sat down and we worked this through, and we said, look, if we want to make transformational difference in the lives of children and young people, what are our values? And so we worked these out. These were to be ACE 2. And I'll take you through what this looks like as we deliver our services. So the first, if you just punch through these ones, they'll pop out. Just keep going. Sorry, just really quick. That's it, well done. Next one. Sorry, it's good old animations. The A of ACE 2 is that we seek to provide aspirational choice as we deliver physical education in schools. So as I mentioned earlier, 25 different sports. Next one. But not only that, 15 different dance disciplines. Anything from boxing to Brazilian carnival, or korfball to Afrobeats. A really wide range of different options as to how sport and dance are experienced in school. And so we map to physical education national curriculum, but we do it in a really exciting way that gives joy. Next one. The C of ACE 2 is that we believe in compassion. And so we are proud to be able to offer the solutions-focused approach to mentoring, which builds on cognitive behavioural therapy, otherwise known as CBT, to help children and young people find the solutions to the problems they face. And this has trebled in size post-pandemic as we're responding to the mental health challenges. Next one. The E of ACE 2 is that we believe in excellent education, and therefore we believe in sport for everyone, not just the most gifted, talented, or affluent that can afford it. Next one. The first I of ACE 2 is that we believe in intentional relationships, and so we want to listen to our young people. If I just pick up on Jaden, he's in year 5. He talks about how much he hates school. But hey, nice to see you. But he now says he looks forward to school when the KICK coaches are in. He's found a role model he wants to be like and follow. And so again, this is important to us that we are providing surrogate fathers, male role models often, as well as female, to help children and young people find the right environments and different people to listen to. And we believe in integral interactions. We're proud to offer lay chaplaincy in schools that follows the 7 nationally recognised dimensions of schools-based chaplaincy. I mean, I don't know if you know these. These are great. To be pastoral, worshipful, spiritual, missional, servant-hearted, prophetic and pedagogic. And so again, chaplaincy is thrilling as an opportunity to express the gospel and provide a pastoral listening ear to children and young people in schools. Okay, so those are the 4 things we do in schools, and ACE 2 is how we do them. But this stepping stone of the KICK Academy, this is where we partner with local churches to train and equip churches to through local people to reach local children and young people. And so what does this look like? If we go on to the next one. Thank you so much. It is to provide some coaching with an inspirational thought from the Bible, and then an application of either matches or dance routines, depending on what type of KICK Academy it is. So if I give you an example, every session is themed. We have 40 sessions, one for every academic week of the year, that we can give away to churches that they can run and make it really easy. They can just use it from your phone. So today's theme, everyone, is obstacles. We're going to look at that as we, if it's a football academy, dribble around cones, obstacles, obstacles, beat a person on the wing, cross the ball in, obstacles, obstacles, and have a competitive heading drill. Obstacles, obstacles, obstacles. Now, guys, we'd say grab a drinks break. We're going to share with you an inspirational thought from the Bible about today's theme, no shock, obstacles, about how Jesus got down in the mud, scooped some up, put it in the blind man's eye, and enabled him to see through the obstacles he encountered. Now, everyone get back up, get back out there onto the pitch, look for space to avoid the obstacles you'll encounter in the matches. And so again, it's totally thematic. It's no surprise, if you like, that we talk about God as we embed that within the coaching and between the matches. And so again, we are delighted to give these away to churches and enable them to do that. Next one. We've distilled down 20 years' experience to just 7 questions for startup. We want to make life as easy as possible for churches to sustainably run KICK academies. And so in the last 12 months, we've launched 15 new KICK academies by God's grace across the country. And so that's been really exciting. And we now have them as far north as Newcastle and as far south as Plymouth. And so we are encouraged that churches are seeing sports ministry and taking that forward. Who was it I met from the Church of England earlier? Maybe he's gone. Oh, yes, we met earlier, but so sorry. There was another gentleman that was running a Church of England church. I think he's gone. But I was having a quick chat with him. And I got a chance to speak at General Synod last year in February. I have spoken at a few, I'm not a part of the Church of England. I've spoken at a few, what are they called? What are the other ones called? Oh, goodness. The other synods. There's like local synods. What are they called? Diocesan synod. And so basically these are like small meetings like this of local church leaders. And so I was invited to come to General Synod. I thought, it's just a general one of those. I didn't realise it was with all the bishops in central London. And so I only worked this out. It was really embarrassing the night before. But maybe that just took the pressure off. But I've got a chance to share there. And the Church of England have basically said they're going to adopt sports ministry into every diocesan strategy across the country. Praise the Lord. So again, sports ministry is being taken forward. We're very grateful for that. Next one. So that is the S of our solution. If we go on to the next one, sorry if you can't see it too well, but we want to be 4D in our approach to mission, to demonstrate God's love in the schools, declare the gospel in the KICK academies, help young people make a decision. We had 41 kids give their lives to the Lord at our last tournament, which was so moving to see. Oh, and sorry, if you can nip back one. Oh, never mind.
No, I think it was there. Go back again.
One more.
Froze and some froze. Which one did you want to?
Oh, but if you just hit back one. Oh, don't worry, it's okay. So that we can see young people discipled in local churches. And we so desire that they would be with you. We believe discipleship is a lifetime's work. We think the best place for children and young people to be is in church, quite contrary to what the media would tell you. So that is our motivation, our mission. I'll close with our movement. We've moved from 17 schools a week to 107 in the last 7 years. We now mentor over 1,000 struggling young people a week. Our staff team has gone from 7 to 97. It's been a miracle, and I absolutely know why God called me to come. It's been like being a passenger while God has floored it. And there's an amazing guy who came and spoke at our annual conference called John Burns from the Northeast. And he said, God uses very ordinary people to do extraordinary things. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I feel extremely ordinary. But we work with an extraordinary God, and it's been really exciting to see him do that. And in London, we've moved from 6 boroughs to 28 of the 33 in London. And so that was exciting. But then, if it comes to the next one, we saw this post-pandemic, that there are 11.5 million children and young people in the UK that are in the 31,000 schools, and sadly not yet the 40,000 churches. And so post-pandemic, we made a brave decision to go national. Firstly, we went to, I've gone to the next one, sorry, the West Midlands, East Midlands and the East of England. Then to the Northwest and Northeast. We've been in Chester and Blackburn for the last few years. It's been great. And this past year, we went on to the South and Southeast as we've started this journey to the 15 regions in 15 years. But we are absolutely brand spanking new to Liverpool. We've never been here before, and so we're hungry to work together. Our gift to you in Liverpool is new KICK academies with local churches. We would love to give away our resources to enable you to do sport or dance ministry in your community. Secondly, we'd love to provide schools work in your schools. And we have a model which charges the government to pay for it, so you don't have to. So if you want essentially a free school worker that we get the schools to pay for, it's yours. We'd much rather you were giving missionally to other brilliant organisations in the community. One of them is here, Christians in Sport, who are good friends. And so again, we'd much rather you were giving to other ministries locally. It's great to hear about what you're doing, Dave, and with all the banners, praise the Lord. But as I say, with our model at the moment, we have an opportunity to charge the government for mission to make it free for the churches. And we want to take advantage of that. And thirdly, we're creating new jobs. If you know of people looking for work as coaches, mentors, chaplains, or leaders and managers, we'd absolutely love to meet them because we want to grow and we want to not compromise by recruiting non-Christians that don't believe in our mission to deliver it. So what is our prayer? It is very, very simple. You know your community much better than I do. And so if you can, connect us, if that's right, with any people in your church that might be inspired to do some sports ministry. It is a different ask to ask people to steward or do teas and coffees. That might really engage certain people, but for others they may think, oh, it's a chore. Whereas some people might be terrified and others might be genuinely inspired to do sports ministry in their church and feel a real vocation. They may, I don't know, work in the city in an office job or work as a plumber. We've got all kinds of different volunteers. Our youngest is 12 and our oldest is 92. And so again, there's a spectrum there. But people might be really honoured to be asked, to be trained, to be sent on training to execute sports ministry or dance ministry in their community. Secondly, as a former head teacher, I love meeting head teachers. And so if you have any connections with local schools, I would be really grateful to meet them and explore working together. That would be an absolute treat for us. And thirdly, we've employed 24 new members of staff last year. And we want to employ people locally to deliver local services. And so again, if you know of anyone looking for work, please would you introduce us. Please would you put it on your church WhatsApp group that KICK might be coming and be looking for people to prayerfully consider coming to work for KICK. So as I say, those would be, if you like, we'll do all the heavy lifting, but we just don't know your communities like you do. And so please connect us if you can. Great. So time-wise, pick a picture, I'll tell you a story. And then we'll have some questions and I'll try and give some answers. So pick a picture, I'll tell you a story. Who wants to go first? Yes, thank you. Blue eyes, yeah. So this is a tough one. So we were mentoring a girl in year 10. She was referred to us. She was a studious learner, so she worked hard, but she referred to us because she had existential depression, which, if you don't know what that means, it means she was depressed about her very existence in life. Very, very sad. And what was lovely was she started to build trust with our mentor, and he spoke positive things into her life. And after 4 months, she confided in him that it was the anniversary of the night she left her house, went to a bridge across a motorway, and planned to throw herself off. And she hadn't told anyone for a year that she'd had these suicidal thoughts. He was able to support her and explain that he'd have to raise this with the school and put a team around her to protect her because she had suicidal ideation. And he wasn't sure how that was going to go afterwards and how she would react when she came back to the school. But what was lovely was 2 weeks later when she came back, she said, "Thank you, you're the first person that cared enough about me to give me a reason to live." She wrote a card to him at the end of year 11, when she was leaving the school, she said, thank you for being a key reason why I'm still here. It's not every day you go into work and you realise your work is about life and death, but that day we knew it was. Pick a picture, I'll tell you a story. Who's next?
Chosen.
The Chosen, yeah. Good. Chaplaincy. So this is my friend, this is not my friend, this reminds me of my friend Samuel. He is an evangelist. He is one of our chaplains, and he told me the other day, he says, I love going to work. I said, well, that's a relief, good. He said, what job in the world do you get a chance to tell 1,500 people about Jesus on a regular basis, many of which don't know him? And I thought, wow, as church leaders, often we're preaching to the converted, aren't we? But he is preaching to the unconverted. What an opportunity on a regular basis to have a chance to do that. We love that. So again, that reminds me of Samuel. Pick a picture, I'll tell you a story. This will have to be the last one for time, so sorry. Yes?
Things to do in Cambridge.
Things to do in Cambridge, brilliant. So we had one of our coaches, he moved out of London when he got married, and we were very sad because he had to move on. But then when we went national, we were able to come to Cambridge, near where he lived, and he came back to work for us. He said he was so pleased to come back to KICK. We were so happy. And so he goes in on his first day. It's our first week of working outside of London in like 2021. And the pandemic's just happened, the school's just reopened, and he gives an assembly. And he takes out his wallet and he holds up a £5 note. He says, how much is this worth? And they all say £5. And then what he does is he blows a raspberry on it. Then he rubs it on his backside, and then he puts it on the floor and stabs on it. And he said, do you feel like this? Do you feel spat on, rubbed out, worthless? How? And he lifts up this £5 note. He goes, how much is this still worth? And they say £5. And he says, no matter what you've been through, God still has huge value in you. And what was lovely was the head teacher wrote to me. She said, you could have cut the atmosphere like a knife. She said, I had tears in my eyes. It was great to be reminded of that. Thank you for making an impact in our school. And we just felt, thank you, Lord. We've taken this step of faith to leave London and start to share things elsewhere. And we had an instant impact in that school. I was so encouraged. So again, please remember that. Each one of you is invaluable too. But again, we felt blessed that was the start of a journey there. Okay, so yes. So please, if you have any questions, please ask me. I would love to work with and explore working with each church that's present today. And as I say, we build one kingdom, don't we? Not many. We are proud to partner with lots of brilliant organisations and churches across the country. It's thy kingdom come, not anybody else's. And however we can work together, we're keen to do that. I was moved by a quote by D.L. Moody, where he said, God's work done in God's ways never lacks God's resources. And so again, if a chance to collaborate together isn't his work, let's not do it. That's really fine. But if it is, let's do it in his ways, and he'll provide what's necessary. I believe that in faith. And that's just been our experience. Just to encourage you, we've gone from 6 boroughs in London to now 8 regions in the country, and we're working with 31,147 kids a week by God's grace. That is a miracle. I cannot tell you what a shock that is. The organisation was about to close, but God has done that, and he can do great things. Let's pray that every young person gets a chance to hear the gospel in Liverpool, and if we can be a blessing here, we'd absolutely love to be. So thank you very much. Thanks. Yes, thank you.
About setting up a KICK Academy.
Yeah.
What are the practical steps to make it happen?
That's a great question. So could you nip back to those 7 questions for startup? Thank you for asking that. So, sorry, yeah. So the question was, what are the practical steps for setting up a KICK Academy? So it's really, what we've tried to do is make it as simple as possible. There are these 7 questions. We say, who might be your volunteers? Where might you like to run it from? Would you like to run it in a particular sport, a dance discipline, or in running? And so we tailor that. What would be the best time in the week for you to run it? My favourite one is at a church where they used to come in at 10:30 till 12, and they would, but they started hemorrhaging lots of children and young people to sport. In the UK today, you're 7 times more likely to be playing sport than going to church. Heartbreaking. And so what they chose to do was they said, we're going to move church back 10 to 11:30, Sunday morning, Sunday school, and at 11:30, all the kids would go out to a kick academy from 11:30 till 1, and then they go home for Sunday lunch with their folks. Instead of it being sport versus church, it was sport and church side by side. Wow. But they can happen whenever is helpful. Saturday morning, Friday night, Tuesday after school, Sunday evening before an evening service, whenever is complementary to your community. And we've got the resources, we'll give them to you, we'll provide ongoing advice and guidance and take you from the idea to launch and beyond. We'd love to provide that wraparound support for you. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. And again, we can have a consultation to look at how we tailor things to each church, because each church is different. But yeah, those 7 questions are helpful building blocks, and we can do that very simply. Yeah, thank you. Who's next? Yes, thank you.
How do you like to go into schools? So what will the process of that look like?
Brilliant question. Thank you for asking that. So, the question was, how do we go into schools? So, as a former head teacher, I got bombarded by cold calls and random emails, offer me anything. I'm sure you do as church leaders. It's like junk mail, isn't it? But where there was somebody I knew, liked, or trusted, who would introduce something and say it's worth having a chat with Joe, or somebody, I would always make time. And that's been my experience. Where a church connects us to a local school, that opens up an opportunity for a conversation. And so if you know of any local schools, please email them and copy me in. And I can reply to them, send them our brochure and offer to meet up with them. And we'd love to do that. So that's a good way. Also, sometimes there are different head teacher conferences and meetings. The Liverpool Diocese, I've had a chance recently to meet Bishop Ruth, and she's keen that I come to the head teacher conference where there'll be a bunch of church schools. So things like that, where we can just connect with schools and explore things. But again, with churches, the best way is just that personal introduction. Just warms it up. A warm introduction helps for so much. But yeah, thank you. Yes, hello.
I'm sure you, because you're working in London, you're dealing with this, but my parish, my area now has become probably majority or at least vast minority Muslim.
Yeah.
So how do you work in areas where the majority of faith is quite strong, it's not Christian?
Very, very normal for us in cities. We just, sorry. The question was about how to work in areas which are majority alternative faiths, such as Islam, and how to relate to schools where there's a Muslim majority, perhaps. So the example I gave of the chaplain was in Hounslow, which is a majority Muslim area. And yeah, exactly, that's right. And one of the other picture I was going to pick of the broken glass was of a church called Hope Church Hounslow. And they set up a kick academy. They had 7 kids coming before the pandemic. After the pandemic, they were moved into a different place, a different park, because they were going to build a tower block on it. And it was full of dog feces and broken glass. And they thought, do we bother relaunching? They lockdown hit, and they spoke to parents and said, should we close it? And the parents came back and said, please, please don't. Our kids have been locked up for a year. They need to do something practical, physical. So they reopened it. Instead of 7 kids, they had 14. Each person had brought a friend. It grew and grew, and we promoted it in the local schools. They now have 140 kids a week. It was absolutely thrilling. And what that's led to is 7 families, Muslim families, coming to church on a regular basis and hearing the good news about Jesus. And so that has been a really exciting journey for them. It's not just been the children that are regularly hearing the gospel, often from that faith background, but they're also, it's drawn their families into church to explore faith more with them. So that's been really, really exciting. And maybe that's an example, but we do believe that Jesus Christ is the hope of the world, and so yeah, we're keen for that. Thank you for that question. Yes, hello.
Just a hypothetical. If you were a church that, say, had volunteers and there was another church that had the school connection, are there examples of churches working together?
Totally. I meet so many churches, they say, oh, we'd love to work with KICK, but we can't do all 3 things. I say, that's absolutely fine. Please don't worry. Let's just try one of them. We don't mind being in a school and not having a KICK Academy, or having a KICK Academy and not being in a school. That is fine. With the KICK Academy, you can at least retain the young people. They can invite their friends. With the school, we can be being salt and light whilst we await a church that's ready to run a KICK Academy. Not a problem at all. And it may be you can't do either, but you have somebody in your church that has a hunger to come work for KICK. Wonderful. Wouldn't it be great to have 3 different churches, 3 different outcomes, and it all comes together? God's got a plan. There's a guy I've known for 10 years. He's been running a KICK Academy in London, and he said to me last month, he goes, my wife and I feel we've been called to Blackpool. So I said, okay. He said, would KICK ever have any work in Blackpool? I said, well, we'd love to, because we feel Liverpool is on our heart to come to. And if there was a school opportunity in Blackpool we could win some work to place you into, we'd love to. Let's pray. That afternoon, I got an email from an Elim church in Blackpool. They said, I've heard about your work. Can you tell me more? I said, I can't believe this. He's going to try and connect me with some schools in Blackpool, and we'll see that they move at Easter. We are praying that the Lord would open up some opportunities in that part of the world. He's got 10 years of sports ministry experience. He'd just be amazing. But we must meet some schools soon to try that out. But as I say, yeah, those things, we would love it when churches collaborate, or we can connect them up. Yeah. Okay, time-wise, I think time is gone. But thank you very, very much for having me. I would be so grateful to meet each church represented, or as many of us would like to. So please, I'll put my card on the table, but please come and talk to me. I'd love to grab your email and maybe have a Zoom call to explore things further. Thank you very much for having me, and I'll pass back to Nick maybe. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Joe.